Good morning, good afternoon around the globe, those who have joined our first ever Virtual Open Day at VIT. Thank you for joining. My name is Abdul Mamoon, General Manager Marketing. Today, I'll talk about our courses and the approach that we have taken for COVID-19 during this pandemic. I'll talk about the course for VIT's vocational courses, higher education courses, fees, and scholarships that are available for our upcoming intake. Guys, thank you again. And for those who have asked a lot of questions, because of the overwhelming response, we could not take all the questions of yours, but we're trying our best to get back to you with your questionnaires. But you continue to ask the questions in our the comment box. So first of all, VIT during this pandemic, we are the first or one of the institute started our virtual the classes or the open so online classes. And after that, we have taken a lot of feedback from our students about our online learning, and we have got really good response on that. And during this pandemic, a lot of students, those who have lost their job or the parents have lost their job or business under different situation, we have come up with funding about $1 million to support our students, to help them out throughout this journey, to reduce their fees and offer scholarships. And we are, as a private institute, I would believe this much of amount we have contributed for our students to retain them and help them and encourage them to continue their studies at VIT. And VIT is also raising funds targeting $250,000 to support those who are in extreme hardship. Students those who cannot pay the rent or cannot buy groceries or need to buy or do some medical treatment, VIT is helping them out by sourcing funds from agencies, communities, friends, and staffs at VIT. And we are doing great. And those who have supported, thank you very much for supporting VIT students during this pandemic. Now, besides that, during this pandemic, we have seen our welfare counselor, more than ever, they're busier than any other time, contacting all our students to see how they are going. So that's a response that we are giving for our students. We are looking after our students to think about their welfare and health and well-being. And after that, we're also helping students to find their jobs. We are uploading the jobs on our LMS and helping students to apply for those who have lost their jobs. Okay. During this pandemic, VIT is also offered free meal in Melbourne and Sydney locations, so that if students in need, they can go to our related the reference restaurants to source their meal. During this pandemic, we also come up with a lot of scholarships for our upcoming intakes that are coming from July and as well as for September. We are offering vocational courses, guys. I think most of you know we are offering our hospitality courses over 20 years in Melbourne. For our most popular course, hospitality, we are offering package Set 3, Set 4, and Diploma Hospitality Commercial Cookery, as well as patisserie. And we have up to advanced diploma level of our hospitality courses that we offer. For our courses, for our upcoming intake, for June intake, we are offering 10% scholarships, which means the fees, actually that is $15,000 package course. Now that is only $13,500. Okay. So what that means is if you pay, and then on the top of that, you get some additional scholarships. If you pay one-time fees in advance, you get 5% more. And if you pay one semester fees in advance, you'll get 10% fees scholarships on top, which is a great news, guys. So for hospitality, we're offering 10% scholarships and up to 20% if you pay fees in advance. So that's for our VIT hospitality courses that we offer. For our higher education, as you know, VIT is very, very popular in terms of our IT course that we offer. For Bachelor of IT, we have two specializations. One is application development, another one is networking. For our Bachelor of IT, we are also offering 15% scholarships, and that is for the entire course, not for the only first semester, guys. It is for the entire course. The 15% scholarship is applicable for our July and as well as for September intake. So, and for masters, we have three specializations: software engineering, analytics, and architecture. For our master's course as well, we have scholarships up to 15%. And for our higher education, if you pay one semester fees in advance, we'll give you 5% fees scholarships. And if you pay two semester fees in advance, you get up to 10%. So overall, you get up to 25% scholarships, guys. That is for the July and upcoming September intake. Nevertheless, I want to also talk about a few more things about the VITs, the education that we are offering. We are not only competitive, we also deliver quality training. And that we have seen over that period of time. We're getting the students' feedback from the students. We have seen the QUILT rating. We have seen the QUILT rating states that we are better than some other public university in Australia. So we are not only the competitive fees provider, we are also giving quality training for our students. So I would like to request you, before you choose, talk to your agency, our authorized agency, and maybe your friends or relatives, maybe studying at VIT, please speak to them. Find out more about our VIT courses, how we offer. And I would like to also talk about those who cannot join this Virtual Open Day. Of course, we will have that recorded session. You can always access. And I would like to encourage you to get some more information if you have in relation to fees, scholarships, RPLs, entry requirements. Please drop an email at enroll@vit.edu or .au, or you can also send an email to our admissions email, admissions ends with s @vit.edu.au. Before I end, I will might have some questions to answer, so I'll go back to yes, Jason, please.
A few questions, so one at a time. So we've got one here. What is the price needed to pay for confirmation of enrollment? Could you perhaps elaborate a little bit more on confirmation of enrollment, that process and its pricing?
Okay, sure. So if you talk about the vocational courses that we offer for onshore, that we take $1,000 fees plus $200 enrollment fees, guys. So which is very, very competitive. For higher education, we have Bachelor of IT. If you take the Bachelor of IT, our fees is $6,800 after the scholarship, so you need to pay 50% of that fees of $6,800. And for Masters of IT, those who will do 16 subject, which is from the non-IT background students, so they will need to pay after the scholarship of 15%, $4,400. So that is for the 16 subjects. And those who are doing 12 subjects, which is cognate IT background students, they will need to pay only $3,200 for the initial fee to get the COE.
Okay. Another question is, can I join in September for intake? Could you elaborate for HE programs and also for VET?
Certainly you can. But those who are doing higher education course and recently came to Australia during March intake, guys, we will need to look at when your 6-month period will end. However, we can always be flexible to offer you course even after 9th of September if you require the release to get your enroll at VIT. And that's same applicable for vocational students. So we need to look at your the restriction. If you have the 6-month period to switch provider, you can, or those who are here on the visit visa or tourist visa, they don't have restriction on that. You can simply apply and get clarified on that one. So regardless of that, please drop an email and get it clarified so that we can assist you with our option for you.
Another question, are there any phone line contacts? And if so, what are they? Where are they available?
in Melbourne, our head office. You can call our 1300 number to get access, and also our team can connect you to our marketing team to discuss about if you have any queries on that.
Okay, great. While we wait for some more questions, could you perhaps talk a little bit more about is scholarships available for Sydney as well as Melbourne? Could you perhaps talk a little bit more about Sydney?
Certainly, it's a good question. It is available both the campus, Melbourne and Sydney, guys. So the 15% scholarships, higher education, we have both in Melbourne and Sydney. And I'll just also talk about the scholarship, how it works. So for VIT, the scholarship that we are giving for our students for our higher education course, that's 15% scholarships available for the entire course. So if you meet our entry requirements for our scholarships, you will meet the scholarship requirements. But your subsequent fees will remain as a full fees. However, you need to maintain at least 50% course progress to be eligible for your subsequent semester course fees to get that scholarship 15%. So what that means is once you get the enrollment at VIT for the first semester, we will apply that 15% for the first semester, and the subsequent semester fees you will get once you pass at least 50% of the course progress from your first semester. So, and again, so that is applicable for Melbourne and as well as for Sydney locations.
Yeah, thanks for that.
No problem.
Just look for some more questions.
Sure.
So now the questions here. Before we close off, could we perhaps talk a little bit more about, let's focus on Sydney for a moment here.
Sure.
So with the course structure, is it exactly the same as what you get in Melbourne, or is it slightly different? Could you elaborate on that?
Sure. It is exactly the same what we offer in Melbourne. So it's our head office, but the campus is running and is scheduled at the same time how we operating in Melbourne. Our course design exactly the same for Melbourne and Sydney. Our course coordinator but different. However, course structure is exactly the same what we have in Melbourne, and that will be delivered in Sydney as well.
So in terms of processing applications, how long does it take between me applying as a potential student and getting enrolled? What's that process like?
Very good question. Whoever asked that question, wonderful question. So it takes generally 2 working days. In some cases we have done that in 24 hours. However, you need to submit all your relevant documentation so that we can assess and process your application promptly. So what that means is you need to put your application form completed, which is available on our website under download section, and then complete the application form along and submit along with your passport, your academic documents, the previous academic documents, and any course progression if you have from the recent academics, colleges that you've been studying, and submit that along with your RPL if you want to request for RPL. So once you submit all the relevant information, generally we take 24 to 48 hours maximum within the working days that we are working.
Questions come through just on the USI number. Could you talk about that? What it is, how can students get access to it before studying?
Okay, unique student identification, USI. So that means is only vocational students will need to do that. So then we have a link. Once you come to VIT and enroll on the orientation day, we will be sending you the link to register that. So that will keep your record of your study history in Australia. So that means is whatever the course you have accomplished, so USI, unique identification, will give you record of the previous studies that you have completed. So let's say you have finished your the VIT Diploma of IT course at VIT. Once you finish that course and you switch to the other provider and submit that, so that another provider will be able to access to see what qualification you have previously finished. So once you finish your course at VIT, we upload your completions at our the department website, and they record your completions on USI portal. So that is important only for the vocational students, those who will be doing Set 3, Set 4 diploma, advanced diploma courses in Australia.
I know you briefly touched on the fees themselves and what VIT is doing to help students through COVID-19, this crisis we're experiencing.
Yep.
Questions come through from Christine asking, if you have an unstable job and are struggling to pay the fees, could you elaborate again on what's available and what VIT is doing for you?
Okay. So I'm getting a lot of questions. I'm very happy about that. So it's a good question. I have a lot to say. So as I said, look, during this pandemic, we've been very, very supportive for our international students. Those who are not able to pay, I've seen the students came for the March intake. And I think we are the only private institute that we allowed our students to continue their course without doing any cancellation. They're still doing their assessment, they're still joining our classes, they're continuing their course, and we're helping them to postpone their fees for the subsequent intake or the semester to pay their fees in installments. We're also offering the scholarships that the $1 million budget we have given for the students or taken. So the students can get that or source that by applying through our online for our current students. And of course, for the future students, upcoming students, we are offering up to 25% higher education course scholarships, for VET up to 20% scholarships. So we are flexible and lenient in that extent. If students can demonstrate their situation, why they're in this situation and what they can do to overcome that situation, we can certainly extend their fees and support them to be flexible with their tuition fees to pay.
Another question that's similar, again relating to fees, is can I pay my fees during exams or do I have to pay them at the beginning? I know you briefly touched on the pay structure themselves and the timings, but could we address that?
Look, it all depends on how much fees you have paid for your current semester. As I said, if you are a good student, if you have a good progress, that's something we look at. We also look at how much fees or the percentage of the fees that you have paid for the semester, depending on all that. And if you request to pay the fees on the later date, if you submit your supporting documents to support your statement, then we'll be looking into that and we'll be able to help you to pay your fees during your exams as well.
Okay, thanks for that. No other questions in the chat at the moment. So if there are, please post. I'll put a message.
Sure.
Are there any closing thoughts that you have before we fully close? Any other things that you'd like to discuss?
Look, I would like to request you to have a look at the videos or the testimonies that we have on our website. And of course, please, as I said, please discuss with your friends who are studying at VIT. I've seen the students who are studying at VIT, they're very satisfied. Students, why they're satisfied, the most important thing I hear from the students is because they can engage with the lecturers and the teachers and they can ask questions and they know each other. And the support services that we are giving for our students. So that is what is most important thing, what they cannot access or see or engage any other institutes they come from or coming to VIT. So that is very, very important. It's not about the fees that you have to look at always. You have to look at the fees is competitive. Yes, that's true. But at the same time, the way we support our students, that is the most important thing. We have many staffs who have been working here many years. So we have the industry experience. We know how to deal with our students and how to support. So over the last 20 years, that's what we have learned. That's what you are giving for our international students. No problem.
One other question Christine has asked. We haven't heard much about Sydney. Could we perhaps talk more about that campus life and what is offered on campus? So we're going to ask Sid Nair, our academic dean.
I'll ask the Sid Nair, executive dean, to answer to that.
Yeah.
I'm quite sure Mahmood can answer that question, but he decided to put me on the spot anyway.
Yeah.
The Sydney campus offers the same courses in higher education as Melbourne, the MITS and the VITS program. The campus is actually on 2 floors on 33 Kent. It's actually a very nice campus, modern campus with great facilities. You should check it out. It's right in the middle of the city, very close to walking to all the shops and restaurants as such. But the student life is very much brilliant, exuberant. The students are actually coming in on a very regular basis. the academics are all present every day, and they're actually engaging and meeting students on a daily basis. So regardless where you choose, whether it's Sydney or Melbourne, both campuses have a vibrant environment, and that's what I think you actually need to check it out. But it all depends on your preference, where you want to be, Melbourne or Sydney.
Any further questions? Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, whoever joined. Again, from VIT for joining this Virtual Open Day. We will continue to do this Virtual Open Day, and this is our first time ever we are doing that, and we are very happy and glad to see the number of participants that have joined today. So thank you again, and wish you all the best. Stay safe.